Thank you. How's everybody doing this afternoon? Okay, that was for about 4 tables. How are all of y'all doing this afternoon?
Good.
All right, it's a little bit better. I just want to thank the whole staff for having me here, Kevin Snook and Miranda Warren, and the whole team for bringing me in. I knew nothing about the conference, but it's a great thing for me to be a part of, so I'm really appreciative, and thank you all so much for making it happen. Like I said, I'm from Wilmington, go Seahawks. And I drove up this morning, and every time I go on one of my long drives, I always call my girlfriend Susan, because she's got the gift of gab, and she's always got some kind of crazy story. And being that I'm on the road a lot, it makes my trips a little bit more fun and entertaining and a lot less short, or a lot less long. And she definitely didn't disappoint this morning. I called her up, and we were just catching up on the weekend and everything, and she was like, Chelsea, you are not going to believe what I did yesterday. I'm like, all right, Susan, lay it on me, what's going on? She said, well, I had some computer problems over the weekend, and, I had to call customer service, and I finally got tech support on the phone, and was telling them that, the cup holder on my PC was broken, and it just kind of snapped off, and, I'm still under warranty, what can they do to help me get it up and running? And she said, the lady paused, and said, did you say cup holder? Well, yeah, it's right on the front of my computer. It just snapped right off. I mean, I'm running my own business out of my home, so is there anything you can do to help me get this up and running again quicker? She said, the lady paused again, and said, ma'am, forgive me if I sound confused. Well, because I am. But, is this like some sort of promotional item that you got at a seminar or a conference? Can you explain it to me a little bit better? Now, anyone that knows my friend Susan knows that her patience level is about this big, and that she had to wait on the phone to talk to this lady about this long. So she was getting a little peeved at this point. She said, ma'am, it's right here on the front of my PC. It's got a big 4X on it. I don't know what else to tell you. The phone goes silent. She didn't know she had dropped the call or what. But all of a sudden, the lady came back on, laughing hysterically, and said, ma'am, that cup holder that broke off on the front of your PC is the load drawer to your CD-ROM. Yeah. Y'all aren't laughing as much as I was this morning. You have to know her and know that she would probably kill me if she knew that I told you that story. But anyways, I love being from North Carolina. I think it's the greatest state. And being Miss USA was a dream of mine. I got to travel all over the country, all over the world, competed at Miss Universe. Like I said, I worked with Breast and Ovarian Cancer Awareness, St. Jude's, the USO, the Ronald McDonald House. I met some of the most amazing children that have been forever etched into my heart. Got to walk the red carpet with some pretty fabulous celebrities. And still, even after all of that and living in New York and everything, still to this day, the number one question that I get is, what was Donald Trump's hair like? Donald Trump is my boss for an entire year, and through everything that I've been through, everybody has got to know about his hair. So, just to put it out on the table, so that all of y'all know, you don't have to come up to me later and ask me, I have seen it loud, live, and in person, and it's 100% all natural. So, I'll never forget the first time that I got to fly with him on his 747 jet. Here I am, a little girl from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I get to fly my boss's, the Donald Trump's 747 jet. And I can't even tell you how late we were running that day. We were heading up the highway to this private airport, and my PR manager was freaking out. I thought she was going to have a heart attack sitting next to me, because I don't care who you are or where you come from, you do not make Donald Trump wait for anything. If he will leave Marla Maples on the tarmac, he for sure was going to leave his Miss USA fund. So we make it just in time. We pull up to the plane and jump on a limo and run up the back of the plane. And as soon as I stepped into this monstrosity, it was just the most luxurious fabrics you'd ever seen. Gorgeous artwork all along the walls. And it was almost like it was sectioned off into the dining area and the bedrooms and a movie room and a business meeting area. And you couldn't even see the conference nothing short of incredible. And so I had just a few minutes left to spare until he was going to get there, so I ran to the restroom to fix myself all up and stopped dead in my tracks. I pulled out my cell phone and was taking pictures left and right. Because in all of my 21 years, never in my life had I ever seen a gold toilet. Never. I mean, Liberace's got nothing on Donald Trump, I can promise you that. I mean, the seatbelt buckles in the plane were gold, the picture frames were gold, and then you go to the bathroom and there's a gold sink and a gold toilet. Everybody in my phone book got to see that toilet. And if Twitter had been around, I can promise you that all y'all would have seen it too, in all of its glory. But just one of those experiences is just so unreal to me, to imagine that the one dream that I had in becoming Miss USA took me to places that I never, ever knew I could go. Gold toilets and all. I mean, that's why I was so excited to come and talk to you all today, because for me, the steps that I took to become Miss USA, to become our state's first Miss USA, are something that I value and just enjoy so much to be able to share with anybody. It all started with a vision. For as long as I can remember, every single year when Miss USA would come on TV, my mama and I were front and center, right in front of our TV, watching the pageant. And we'd have our little notepads out, and we'd be scoring the girls and picking our favorites, and we would just marvel at the event. I mean, I remember just being in awe of these women and how beautiful and how smart and poised, and they were aware of things that were going on in the world, and they knew how to talk about them, and they just had this presence about them. So for as long as I can remember being a small little girl, I knew that I wanted to grow up and be just like them. That I wanted to be a Miss USA. Dr. T.D. Jakes says it best: if you can see the invisible, you can accomplish the impossible. I didn't start pageants at a little age, though. I wasn't into the whole toddlers and tiaras thing, like so many are today. I did a whole lot of other things, and then when I became a teenager, I thought, well, maybe I'll give it a try. And once I did my first pageant, I was bit by the pageant bug, just like that. And then I understood what it took to be a Miss USA and the steps that I needed to conquer to get there. And that's when I realized that if I really wanted to make my dream a reality, I had to have a lot of grit about me. A Miss USA with grit? Oh, you better believe it, even in these heels. Because when I decided that I was going to be Miss USA, there was nothing, there was no one, there were no circumstances, there were no financial issues. There was absolutely nothing that was going to come between me and what I wanted in being Miss USA. The first step to that process is winning your state title. So off I went to Miss North Carolina. And the coolest thing about going to the Miss USA pageant is that you only get to go once. You only get one shot at it, so it makes it all that much more valuable. So I win Miss North Carolina, and 2 weeks after the pageant, my roommate and I are cooking dinner, and lo and behold, we have a kitchen fire. Now we're college students, so baking soda and fire extinguishers were not in our kitchen, and the whole thing burns down. We lost a lot of things. It was really scary, especially not having a place to live. Here I am, getting ready to compete for the biggest moment of my life, and I don't even have a place to live. It's amazing. What we do with our company, Standout Productions, we always tell our clients, just because you're going for something, just because y'all are here, doesn't mean that life is stopping. It doesn't mean that that's going to be put on hold because you have something else that you want to go after. The bills were piling up. Thank goodness I was able to move back home with my mom. I got turned into collections because my roommate wouldn't pay her half of the bills and both of our names were on them. It was one thing after another, all the while I'm trying to be Miss USA. But my true grit would not let me get down in those circumstances. My true grit just told me that, well, I have a really nice apartment in New York City once I won Miss USA. My true grit refused to let anything at all take my focus away from me being Miss USA. Lou Holtz says that ability is what we're capable of doing. Motivation determines what we do, but our attitude determines how well we do it. It was my attitude that determined how much grit I had. It was my attitude towards myself. We all have something that when big situations arise or stress starts creeping into our life, that something starts gnawing away at us and becomes an insecurity that completely crumbles our confidence. For me, that something had always been my weight. Growing up, I always had weight issues. Yo-yo dieting, I was terrified of getting on the scales. To be in true fighting shape, in true pageant shape, was really, really hard for me. Because I'm a Southern girl through and through, so I love to eat and I hate to work out. It's kind of the worst combination for a pageant girl. But I knew that if I wanted to be Miss USA, I had to be the best physically that I could be. I was at a seminar a couple of months before Miss USA, and they had a speaker come in, and he had this big board breaking exercise where on one side of this very thick wooden board, we would write our goal, and then we turn it over and write whatever obstacle it was that was keeping us from that goal. And through the exercise, we break it, reach through, and write that goal. Now, mind you, I'm at this conference, at this seminar, with like 20 other girls that I'm going to be competing with at Miss USA. So for me, writing down the fact that I wanted to be Miss USA, that was easy. I didn't really care what they thought, because I figured it was kind of obvious why we were all there. We were all going for the same thing. But then when I turned it over, all of the emotions that I had ever carried with my weight were faced right in front of me. So much so that tears literally just started puddling down onto that piece of wood. Was I really going to write something that I had been insecure about my entire life? Was I really going to admit that to all of these other girls? I was 20 pounds heavier there than I am right now. And I was the biggest by pageant standards than all of them. Was I really going to admit that to them? Would I be seen as weak? Would they think that I couldn't do it? These are all the things that started running through my mind. And then the most important question came into my mind. How are you going to face yourself when you go back to Charlotte if you're not honest with yourself right now? I knew in that pivotal moment that if I was not honest with myself, there was no way, no matter what I did, when I went back to Charlotte, it was never going to amount to anything for me to achieve my dream of being Miss USA. So through tears, I wrote my body. We went through the exercise, I partnered up with my teammate, and as I wrote through that board, I grabbed Miss USA on the other side. That was the most pivotal moment for me. Because for years, I knew I wanted to be Miss USA. And then for years, I knew that I should be Miss USA. But that was the moment that I knew without a shadow of a doubt, 100%, that I was going to be Miss USA. George Sheehan, the great American physician, says that success means having the courage, the determination, and the will to become the person you believe you were always meant to be. I love that quote so much, I'm going to say it again. Success means having the courage, the determination, and the will to become the person that you believe you were always